Hello YouTube, it is January 25th, 2020, and once again I'm here to speak about somebody yet again by the name of Vicki Dillard. I did a video recently calling out Vicki Dillard and Boyce Watkins and several other, influential black YouTubers of the community for not supporting, Marion Williamson, and, it led for the only person in the campaign who was proposing reparations for American descendants of slaves. She did not have the funding to stay in the race, and now the only person who was really proposing true black issues for black Americans is out of the race, and the closest thing that we have left that is somewhat monetary is Andrew Yang. But it's like, and I mentioned that in my politic talk video. Y'all know I got a whole series on Andrew Yang within itself, so feel free to look at those videos for my thoughts on Andrew Yang. But I think he is somewhat of a decent second, but Marion Williamson was really where it was at, where we could have got her to get up to 6 trillion. I mean, it only took a conversation, but the problem is none of these other people did not have their stuff together. They did not have any definitive numbers. They keep talking around the bush. They keep contradicting themselves. I done did videos on Antonio Moore and all of that with regards to that. So I slightly mentioned Vicki Dillard up in there, and we're here to address her on a whole different topic. But let me just say this: I don't have no ill will towards Vicki Dillard. I am a subscriber of hers. I overall enjoy her content, but just like several others, when it comes to subjects like this is where we miss the mark, and I got to give a little bit of friendly pushback. So I don't want anybody thinking I'm, responding to Miss Vicki Dillard with any ill intention. This is just me giving some friendly pushback on this. I have to be frank with it. It was some bullshit that she was on with this Essence magazine, and I know I'm 2 weeks late. Y'all know, the time frame that she did her video was around January the 9th. A lot of stuff was going on around that time in regards to me. Y'all know my birthday was on the 12th. I got hired on my new job the day before my birthday. I'm now working in the school system. That I'll be talking more about that on my business channel. So my business channel will be located down below. And also, if you're looking for work from home job opportunities, I will get back to posting work from home job opportunities soon on that platform as well. So all of that's been going on in addition to, planning for this upcoming year, starting off with this lighting. I know y'all saying, and since this video is going to be pre-edited, y'all won't see the yellow tone as much in this video, but the previous ones I've been recording from this light bulb. We're going to start finally getting some new equipment and stuff in. So a lot of stuff been going on with me, from the new job to, getting my credit together, student loans, getting ready for my taxes, and all of that. Y'all know independent. I did independent contract work all throughout last year, so I had it is a pain in the ass come tax time for me, especially with me being an esthetician. All of that, I got to get my, write-offs and all of that together. But meanwhile, I wanted to address this subject with Vicki Dillard. I know I'm getting off subject, but I had to do my little tangent of why I'm so late with this video. So Vicki Dillard had some issues with Essence magazine, obviously mentioning trans women. So it was a cover of a beautiful, I think, East African woman. I did not catch her name, but I would put the magazine cover here. And on the side, it mentioned several other women. It mentioned Niecy Nash, several other people, but it also mentioned the iconic Angelica Ross. Angelica Ross is a very well-known trans activist and actress who is on Pose. Pose, 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 get it on a dance floor, baby. So Miss Vicki Dillard didn't find it too kind that, Essence magazine mention a trans woman on the cover. Not even that the trans woman was on the cover, but it had the name of Angelica Ross, and I think she was also in the magazine. Throughout the video, I think it showed a cover of trans women that were actually in the magazine. So for whatever reason, Miss Vicki Dillard was in her feelings, and she went on a tangent about black women, not, black biological XX chromosome women are not able to have their own stuff, and trans women are co-opting everything, and they're getting pushed out of positions. Like, she went and touched on a myriad of subjects. It went from this magazine cover mentioning Angelica Ross' name to stuff about, being in danger of being replaced in certain key jobs with trans women. I don't understand how that makes sense, because I think LGBT overall, we represent just about, 10% of the population of 330 million people. And out of that, trans women only represent a population total of less than 1%. And women are actually, overall representative of a little bit over 50% of the population, and we only represent 1% of the population. Just in case y'all don't know, I'm looking a little bit clockable today. Y'all know I don't typically shave until the day before work. I got a 3-day work weekend. I was off Friday, the day Saturday, and I got Sunday off, but I can't record on Sundays. Not for any religious reasons, but because I live with somebody, and I don't like them to darn gonna potentially interrupt my YouTube videos. So fortunately, she works today. She now works every other Saturday. So I now got my Saturdays back with y'all, provided that I'm not working, because also they call me in on Saturdays as well with my job. So every Saturday from now on, I might be able to jump on here if I am not working. But anyways, lost my train of thought real quick. Like I said, I'm a little bit clockable today because I do got a little bit of this shadow and stuff coming through. But yeah, as far as trans women, clockable, unclockable, full, pre-op, post-op, we represent maybe like 3 million people. And black trans women is maybe in the hundreds of thousands. I don't even think we represent 1 million people as far as, black trans women are concerned. So I'm trying to figure out, how in the world do you think black trans women, who maybe at best is about 250,000 of us, is going to replace 20 million darn black women? Because there are like 40 some black people in America, living in America, bum, bum, bum. And out of 40 million, 20 some women, and out of 20 some women, we don't even represent 10%. We represent 1%. So you're worried about 1%. So you see the flaw in that darn logic with Vicki Dillard trying to paint a false narrative of trans women going to replace because she's focusing this on black issues. So even though she's talking about women in general, she's not speaking about this from a feminist perspective, but from a black womanist perspective. So that's why I'm tying this in with blackness overall. So black women represent about 20 million people. Trans black women represent maybe 250,000 at best. I'm trying to figure out how 250,000 black people is gonna, displace 20 million darn black women. That don't make any sense, Miss Vicky. Come on now. And once again, when it comes to job placements, short of you working in the pornography industry, which I don't judge, honey. I do not judge. So, short of you working in the porn industry, ain't nobody fact checking your darn genitalia. So I'm trying to figure out, how is they going to know whether they hired a woman who has an XX chromosome or an XY chromosome? I'm trying to figure that out. Because, of course, you might be able to clock somebody like me, a girl's darn just got into some money. I ain't got my laser hair removal just yet. I got this noticeable darn apple, honey. I'm darn 6'1". I wear a size 12 motherfucking shoe. So I might be darn. Even then, most people don't clock me because of the fact that my voice is naturally like this. No surgery. This is just my natural face, and people respect me as ma'am. They just assume that I have a mastectomy, honey, because I don't got no tatas up here at all, honey. So I'm very much clockable to the average T, depending on what I'm wearing. Like maybe in the winter, whenever I got the coat on, I can get away with it a little bit more. Now I don't like wearing makeup all that. I'm blessed where, I'm unclockable. As long as nobody's not looking at the tatas and nobody's looking at the size 12 shoe, honey. But yeah, outside of that, what about people who are like Malibu doll? Now Malibu's not trans, but you have, the girls who are shaped like Malibu, who is very tiny, size 6 shoe, very androgynous in looks. The jawline ain't enough of an indicator, because it's like, well, hell, you got a couple of natural born women who got a handsome face. Shout out to Jada Pinkett Smith and the legendary fabulous darn Grace Jones, bitch. So with that being said, the jaw can't be a indicator. And then it's like, this only costs $2,500 to darn shave down. So what's going to be your indication then? Because your darn job is not darn checking chromosomes. Your doctor is going to be the only person who's going to know beyond a shadow of a doubt whether you were blessed to be born with your parts or if you had to have some darn work done. And it ain't nothing wrong with that. But as far as trying to create this darn false narrative of darn trans women going to be displacing darn black women in astronomical numbers, mathematically it does not make any sense. Once again, black trans women, we represent only about 250,000 of the population at best, and black women represent 20 plus million. So Vicki Dillard, please stop it. Please stop it. Now come on now. You done jumped from darn this Essence magazine cover darn mentioning Angelica Ross to darn trying to spin a false narrative as if nobody wasn't going to fact check you. And then it's like, your darn protege is none other than Boyce Watkins. Doesn't he have a darn PhD in financial literacy? You didn't think nobody who darn follows least Boyce Watkins wouldn't darn eventually think in their mind like, now Vicky, that don't make any darn sense. Now just common mathematical, what's the word? Just common mathematics show that, there's not enough trans women to darn pose a viable threat. And it's like, number one, who is to say that we are a threat? Now I'm trying to figure out, where is the darn plethora of trans women? Because the way that people like Vicki Dillard be talking, you would think that there are actually a plethora of trans women as a collective up on YouTube talking cold cash shit about women who are blessed to be born with their parts. I don't see it. All I see is about black women and black men all the time talking about us. But please show me at least 5. Show me 5, because if we are actually creating the agenda like they say, please just show me 5 people. Now, I understand that there is an agenda going on with the feminization of the black man, but as far as the trans women and stuff is concerned, especially on the black trans women side, please show me 5 black trans women that y'all seen talking cold cash shit about darn women born with their parts. I'll wait. The fact that you would not even be able to darn come up with 5 people off the top of your head shows that this darn issue is very minuscule. Is there maybe 1 or 2 out there you might can pull up? Yes, but please at least find me 5, and then come back and talk to me. I mean, this issue was so much, I actually had to take down notes. And y'all know I usually don't even go through notes, but I wanted to make sure I didn't leave no part uncovered. So, another thing that struck me was that she was talking about how, once again, we talked about how Vicky said women can't have nothing, that everything is being taken from them and all this, that, and the third. And, there's some validity to that to a certain extent. But what I did not like was the fact that she said, why is men now featured on a women on a women's magazine? See, now that was the falseness right there. Because number one, when she said that and implied that trans women are men, now she was still trying to be respectful, but that was shady nonetheless to darn say them being men on Biological Women magazine, because you're still trying to point out the division. And I could understood this if this was maybe Playboy magazine or any other magazine that only featured women. But this was what I didn't understand with Vicki Dillard. I was like, well, hell, they ain't gonna miss your damn money because obviously you ain't in a supporter from the beginning, and it showed throughout the whole night. And I'm gonna be pulling up some receipts because I took some screenshots, and because I just couldn't believe this foolishness. And it's almost like when people bitch and complain about it actually exactly is what it is. I don't understand when people bitch and complain and talk about you want to protest something, but you was never part of anything to even protest. That's like when the Colin Kaepernick situation popped off and other people was talking about we protesting. What I look like talking about I'm protesting the motherfucking darn on NFL. I ain't never watched the shit anyway except for the Super Bowl. That's the only thing I could protest was not watching the Super Bowl for a couple years. But they ain't missed my darn on viewership. I was never part of the darn on shit in the first place. That's like when I said I did not darn on go to Chick-fil-A. I can't protest Chick-fil-A because I don't go to Chick-fil-A. Like, how, come on now. If you're not supporting the darn on thing in the first place, you can't say darn on not boycott. Boycott only means that you're taking your dollars away from something that you was already participating in. It's impossible to boycott something that you was not funding in any type of capacity. Even with the Montgomery bus cop movement, it was people had to get their asses off the bus and start carpooling. But if you was never one of the people that darn gone got on the bus anyways, you wasn't part of the boycott movement. You was not on the damn bus, Rosa. Come on now. So that was darn on funny seeing that in the comment section. But then it was like the obvious lie of saying that men in general, not trans women, but we're going to get to that lie in a moment. But she said men were not ever featured, that this magazine was women targeted, and also implying that only women are featured on the magazine. So we're going to debunk that right now. So right now I'm going to showcase men who have been on the magazine throughout the course of, the inception of Essence, from when it was white on to when it was black. We're going to debunk that one too. So we got LL Cool J, we got Yaz from Empire, we even got Jesse Smollett. So they have featured darn on LGBT people on here before. And we're talking about an obvious masculine, well, not a masculine, honey, but, compared to a trans woman, a very muscular, anatomical, butch queen male, honey. So it's like, where was all this uproar when darn on Jesse was on Essence? Where was this uproar when Yaz and LL Cool J and the cast of the Black Panther and Boris and all these darn on handsome, well-sculpted darn on straight men? Because for the exception of Jesse, all the other ones are darn on straight. I didn't hear none of this issue when you have actual physical muscle-bound men that have been featured on Kevin Hart as well. Darts, it don't matter whether you're dark-skinned or you're light-skinned. Don't matter whether you're 6'2" or 3'2". They have featured every type of man on Essence magazine, and I ain't not heard not one complaint. Now Vicki Dillard's up here trying to make it seem like Essence is strictly women women's darn on magazine from the perspective of only having women on there. But I just showed y'all at least a half a dozen magazine covers that has had men on the cover of Essence magazine. So if darn on straight men and gay men can be on darn on Essence magazine, I'm trying to figure out why does Vicki Dillard have so much of a problem with a trans woman being mentioned in the corner. It's not even that Angelica Ross. And just in case y'all don't know who Angelica Ross, if I didn't showcase her picture earlier, here's her picture again. But I'm trying to figure out why she has so much issue with Angelica Ross' name just simply being mentioned. She's not even on the cover, and darn gone Vicki Dillard decided to do a whole hour video darn gone going in and just bringing up a whole Marriott because she couldn't darn gonna stick to the main topic because it really didn't have any basis. So to try to strengthen her argument, she's trying to point out several totally different stories that some of them do have some validity to it, and we're going to get into that in a moment, but it did not have nothing to do with the main point. The main point was the darn gone topic was about Essence magazine, and you really looked at foolish out here trying to darn gone mention that Essence is only for women, But then I just showcase you plenty of straight darn on hot male straight celebrities, with the exception of one butch queen gay male by the name of Jesse Smollett. What's your response to that, Vicky? I'm waiting. And then you went into talking about. Let me see. Okay, it goes into part two. Talking about trans women in the sports and all of that. Now, I already told y'all my thoughts about that. I personally, I don't believe in pre-op transgender women participating in female sports. However, I'm also the same on the flip side, because I noticed that transgender women was the main topic of her shit all night. Like, transgender is also trans men. I don't understand why people just target transgender women. You throughout this whole video, I did not hear not one mention of transgender men. And when she talked about trans women participating in women's sports, I did not hear not one time about when. I did see somebody in the comment section mention about women, and this is how this all started. It was actually a biological born woman, a white woman, that participated in a male football team way back in the and then she ran for Congress and won. But she was the very first person that was instrumental in darn on making it where females can actually participate in male darn on teams. And that set the precedent. But you don't never hear nothing about that. You always hear about trans women participating in women dominated areas, which, like I said, I'm not necessarily, especially when you're talking about combat. Like when you're talking about, boxing and stuff like that, I do not believe in trans women participating in those, especially if you are anatomically still flowing with testosterone. I do believe that your testosterone levels do have to lower down. Now, some people say even after that your body mass structure is still strong and you can't change that. And I'm like, no. That's not necessarily always the case, because when they think of transgender women going through replacement, not all, transgender women are anatomical. Like, look at me. Like, honey, even when I gained 60 some pounds, even when I was over 200 pounds, my arms have always been thin. I told you, it ain't nothing up here. I don't even got no pics. I'm flatter than motherfucking Lupita Nyong'o. So it's like, with hormones and shit, I am not going to be. Now, of course, I am I do got martial arts skills and all of that, but that's neither here nor there. But just physical build, I am not shaped like motherfucking John Cena. Not all transgender women are shaped like John Cena or, anybody like that prior to transition. You don't have a lot of muscle mass. So when you have somebody like me that goes through the transition process, it's a lot more equal if I was to participate in a female combat area, just because of anatomically how I'm built. So it's a fallacy to imply that all, trans women are naturally more, stronger than a female in that regard. If that makes sense, especially if, the transgender woman has a sufficient amount of estrogen in her body and has gone through the complete transition. But as far as not being on hormones, and especially if you are of more of a masculine, muscle persuasion, I do not agree with the boxing and stuff. And then even with the track, I'm like, they try to say that the argument is because of the testosterone that men can run faster than women. And I don't necessarily know how, because once again, none of these people who are mentioning this is a doctor. And just from my limited medical knowledge, because I'm not a doctor as well. But I did for a time study veterinary medicine. So I'm thinking about this from a general species perspective of all the animals within the animal kingdom. Most lions, it's the lioness that hunts the darn on animals. The male lion really do not hunt down the prey. It's the females that really do majority of the hunting. Also, I can name up other high species where it's more matriarchal, like hyenas, where once again the female is the one that takes the charge. Also, animals that walk alone, such as, that don't have to be in packs, such as black panthers, etc. And with all of this, anatomically, female equivalents have had not only the ability to run to their male counterparts, but in some cases a little bit more faster. And also in certain species, the female can be now, not necessarily in the human species. Like when it comes to the arachnids, the black widow is actually a lot more gigantic than its a male equivalent. And when the black widow mates with the male equivalent of the black widow, it actually kills the black male in the process. I know it's the veterinarian in me, but y'all know what, due to my background in high school with my disease and all that, I wasn't able to fully go, but I still retain a lot of knowledge. So in regards to just general species, overall, I don't believe necessarily in that argument. But now translating it back to the human anatomy in regards to testosterone, I have not seen any actual evidence that supports these people's claim that because of males having testosterone that they will be able to outrun women. That I don't necessarily believe that. Once again, I'm going to need to actually see some more, knowledge in regards to that. Show me some darn on medical statistics. Stop pulling stuff out your ass. Because just because somebody's necessarily tall, honey, my darn on cousin is 5'3" and outruns the fuck out of me. So you can't say because a bitch has long legs and a size 12 shoe that I be able to outrun a short bitch. Because that darn on bitch got about 80 pounds up on me. Her ass, this was back when she was obese. I didn't understand it. Honey, but when people say fat bitches can't run, honey, they ain't bet my cousin Cheryl. Honey, her ass was every bit of like 5 foot. She's like 5'4", and she was like 250 pounds. Here my ass. Now, granted, I was a little bit. I was a stocky chick too, but I wasn't that damn stocky. I was like 5'6", and I was like 150 pounds. So I had some weight on me, but I wasn't obese. That bitch outran me. So once again, you can't necessarily say that testosterone gives you a plus. Now, granted that naturally I have lower levels, so I'm not the best person for that equivalency, because naturally I don't produce as much testosterone anyways, and that's not even with me on hormones. Like, I do not grow facial hair. My voice is always, matter of fact, it took years for my voice just to get this deep, and my voice is not even aesthetically as deep compared to like a Barry White or somebody like that. My voice used to be very high pitched girly when I was young. Naturally, it is what it was. And it wasn't until I was like 15, 16 where my voice started getting a little bit deeper in androgynous. I like to say my voices might be closer to Tina Turner, Beyonce, Mariah Carey-ish. Like, I'm in that area. But as far as somebody like a Little Richard, how low he can go, I can't. Little Richard, even Chris Brown, his voice naturally has a little bit of depthness to it that I don't have. So once again, but I'm trying to think anatomically, even the most masculine of masculine against the feminine of feminine. If you put Serena Williams in a race with, let's say, I'm trying to think of a male athlete, and the only person I can think of is Usain Bolt, but that's not a fair comparison. But just put her up against like a male equivalent. I think darn on Serena can hold her own in a race. Honey, sister got some cast on her, and she got hella stamina. So it's not restricted to darn on testosterone only. But like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I'm only presenting my very limited medical scope of knowledge, and it's from a whole different perspective. It's more so from animal medicine overall, as opposed to human medicine. But to my doctors out there, I think I have one subscriber who actually is a doctor. So if you come across this video, I would definitely love to know your insight about that, about transgenders having an unfair advantage in track compared to their female counterparts. But like I said, It's funny how they don't mention about the trans men who enters male darn on sports arenas. Like when they darn on get testosterone, they don't talk about trans men who participate in male wrestling. They don't talk about trans men who participate in darn on active duty in the male side of the military. They don't talk about, football, and this is actually now biological women, because it was biological born, it's chromosomal women who actually, started off this whole movement anyways with wanting to participate in the male dominated areas. So how come none of this isn't mentioned? This is only talked about when it's affecting transgender women, but I don't never hear this about transgender men and women who are blessed to be born with an X chromosome. So that's the second thing I didn't like about her trying to present that argument, which did not have nothing to do. I mean, it was somewhat relatable to the subject, but it overall deviated from the main subject about Essence magazine, because the argument with Essence didn't really have any basis, so she had to try to pull something else out that would have been a little bit more valid. So I would give her that to a certain extent, but once again, that wasn't her main topic. So then going on from there, I now see Phil the Advice Show in the damn comment section. Because once again, people are talking about, well, Essence is not darn on black owned anyway. Essence is darn on white owned, this, that, and the third. And then you have Phil Scott from the darn on Advice. So I'm like, now Phil, I just got finished darn on I see I got to get you together darn on too. Not only that, I had to now get Vicki together, but now here you is about a half hour into the damn video, and I'll leave the screenshot right here for y'all. Here he is popping up in the darn old in the chat talking about, oh, it's a white on. But it's like, okay, was I the only one? And maybe because I'm a natural, y'all know underneath this darn on bonnet, a girl do got some natural curls, honey. A girl do got some natural hair. So with that being said, maybe it's because the first product I ever tried out was the Shea Moisture. I mean, I had other products, but the first full natural product that I had was Shea Moisture, the Curl Enhancing Smoothie, and the brand was owned by Richelieu Dennis. If y'all don't know who Richelieu Dennis is, I will put his image right here. Richelieu Dennis is a Sudanese. He is straight from the Sudan. His grandmother actually started the brand way back in 1912, and he continued the legacy of Shea Moisture. Shea Moisture started out with 4 main lines. It started out with the pink color one, which is the Curl Enhancing Smoothie, and it had the shampoo and the conditioner. And then you had the yellow color one, which they also had the skincare as well. I love the body butter, but I can't think of the names. It's been so long. But they had the yellow color, and then they had the African black soap line with the shampoo, the conditioner, the deep conditioner. This is before the styling products and everything. And then they had the green line, which they renamed that line, but it was for fine thin hair at the time. The baobab, it had the bamboo abstract and all of that. It was a swampy greenish color. Those were the 4 main lines that Shea Moisture had way back in 2012. Now they got over 200 different brands. They got soaps, they got makeup and everything. Like they don't propelled to a whole business. But I remember when it was only 4 main brands, and then they had the brother company, which was more bigger, which was Nubian Heritage. And I got my start on YouTube by everybody loving my reviews on the soap, because I always used to review the Nubian Heritage soaps, and I used to review the body lotions and stuff. They got thousands of views on my beauty channel, which I will leave down below. But yeah, I remember when Nubian Heritage was a far bigger company than Shea Moisture. And Shea Moisture over the years has surpassed Nubian Heritage. But Nubian Heritage is where it used to be at, way before Shea Moisture got popping off. But yeah, he ended up selling Shea Moisture in like 2017 to Unilever. Unilever is the same company that owns Dove soap and a couple other companies as well. And that's when, the quality unfortunately went downhill with Shea Moisture. They started changing. You know how they do when they darn gonna buy out our companies. They act like they gonna keep it the same. They darn gonna try to keep the black face, because they need to keep the black face that make it seem like it's black owned. So just like they did with with the owner of Carol's daughter, they tried to make it seem like it was still black owned, but when L'Oreal Paris brought out, Carol's daughter, they kept her as the face of it. But they started changing the products, and then, it gets to the discount aisle. What used to be like $20-some end up dropping down to like $5 or $6. And then, it goes to Marshalls, honey. And y'all all know what happens when the darn products makes its way to darn Marshalls and darn those types of stores. And then don't get caught in the Dollar Tree area, honey. Dollar General. But yeah, Shea Moisture has found itself doing being in the same way. Slowly making some of them brands slowly start making itself down to the Marshalls, honey. And the ingredients not being as what they used to be back in the past. But he ended up selling it for, I think, $200 million. And $100 million he used to buy out Essence Magazine outright. So for everybody who was, including Phil, and this is why I hate this shit. Because it's like, you have 1 million subscribers. You are the only black person within the conscious sector to have 1 million plus subscribers. So when you have somebody of Phil's caliber out here spreading lies, everybody just takes him at face value because he represents like the black conscious news sector, and people just take it for a fact that he did his darn due diligence and darn research. So nobody is not even giving Phil any pushback except for one person in the comment section. And once again, it's mighty convenient that you darn reading everybody else's comments, but you didn't read this comment right here, where somebody mentioned, I thought darn Essence was owned by Shea Moisture, which she was somewhat right. It's owned by the former owner of Shea Moisture. It's not owned by the company Shea Moisture, because Shea Moisture was sold to Unilever, and Richelieu Dennis then inquired 100%, not a dominant darn minority share. You know how people act like they own something because they darn have a larger percentage than the average person. Like Jay-Z, he was talking about he owned the Knicks and all of that, but it turns out he only had like 1% stake in the company. Then people talk about Oprah Winfrey and the OWN network, but today she only owns like 35 to 45% of the company. Discovery Network actually owns the majority stake in darn OWN network. So when people is complaining about the stuff that is on OWN network, Oprah Winfrey does not have the dominant say so. It has to go through Discovery Network for it to get the final sign off, because they own the majority shares. And once again, you would think somebody of Phil's caliber would have somebody that is because clearly he doesn't know nothing about doing his proper fact checking. He don't know nothing about getting the facts in order. He just went out and told a flat out lie talking about it's white on. Then you have people saying that it's owned by Shea Moisture, which they were in the facility of being right, because it is owned by the former owner of Shea Moisture, Richelieu Dennis. Because he sold the company for $200 million to Unilever, and he used half of the money that he got from Unilever to buy out Essence Magazine, and it is 100% black owned. He does not have any partners. He is the sole proprietor owner of Essence Magazine. So I don't understand this lie in 2020 being boasted by Vicki Dillard, who, even though she has less subscribers, she has more of a massive presence, because sometimes it's not numbers. Because I've looked at Phil on a live stream, and I looked at Vicki Dillard. Vicki Dillard can get up to 2,000 people on a live stream sometimes on a consistent basis, which matches that of Phil. Now Phil has like 1 million subscribers, versus the Fly Nubian Queen network only has like 90K subscribers. So even though she has 10, because she's basically the main person over there, yet we know that there's over what 3 dozen darn fly Nubian queens and counting. I've seen some of them, the new ones pop on, and I'm enjoying some of their content. But we know who's the main darn caveat at Fly Nubian Queen. Everybody's really tuning in to Vicki Dillard. I see the views when the other girls are on versus when Vicki Dillard's on. It's like it be 1,500 people in the chat when Vicki Dillard's on. When some of the other girls is on, they be lucky to see 100 views. Some of them be like 20, 30, 40, 50. But they're still just as beautiful, and they offer their content as well, and I like it as well. But you know, Vicki Dillard is where it's at. That she's the creme of the creme over at the darn Fly Nubian Queen, and she has a large presence. And when I see people like Vicki and darn Phil spreading out these darn mistruths, and not even mistruths, it's just flat out lies, because it's like you darn spreading these darn you owe your darn followers to do your due diligence. Don't be out here just propelling darn lies. You can have your opinions of what you think about trans women and all this, that, and the third. You don't think that we're really women and all this. You're thinking we're competing with you. You're thinking we about to replace you. You think trans women hate darn women who are blessed to be born with their parts. You can think of all of that in your opinion. You can darn have all your biblical beliefs, just like I don't subscribe to the fact that how can you call yourself conscious, but you're quoting darn scripture and shit that darn justify your enslavement. You darn you're propelling stuff that was systematically created to keep you in a darn in the state that you're in. But then you want to talk about tangibles, this, that, and the third. But both Phil the Advice Show and darn Vicki Dillard, they are proud Christians, and I don't understand how that works. Because anybody who is truly conscious, and maybe it's because also my minor when I was going to study veterinary medicine was history with a concentration in African and minority studies. I knew about the Kemet. The Kemet is where the original, scriptures were taken from and was distorted, and they created the Old Testament, and then they revamped it even more and created the New Testament. So now I'm about to drop some theology on that ass. So from a theologist's perspective, it's actually they systematically program black people to believe that everything is good, everything good is bad, bad is good. So notice how white is purity, white is closer to God, white is closer to cleanliness, and all this, that, and the third. So when you can try to even call yourself trying to call out white supremacy like a Phil or Vicki Dillard, it does not come out full when you darn gonna turn around and start quoting scriptures from white Jesus. And even if you say that you believe in a brown skinned Jesus, it doesn't really show, because you're still quoting from the Bible that was created by the white Roman Catholic Church. So just because you know that Jesus in the image from a theology perspective supposed to have bronze, skin about my skin tone and around a 3B or tighter texture hair that was woolly and cottony. But they showcase this Roman Julius Caesar version of Jesus. Even if you're subscribing to more of the brown Jesus, that's still not really the ideal perspective, because we know that's not what he was. And even when we get into breaking down the letters of the alphabet, how could he be called God? How could God be God in the letter G, which derives from the Greek and Latin alphabet numerical system, did not come around until the 15th century? So I know I'm overwhelming y'all with a lot of darn information, so let me slow down. But it's just, it just baffled me. It's like, with me knowing all that I know, I just could not believe when I was looking at Vicki Dillard for that hour, just spreading out all these dark. Now, I do believe that was a mistruth, because when it comes to Christians who are so wrapped up in their faith, sometimes they do not know what they be spreading. Now, she knew what she was doing with that bullshit with darn trying to create a narrative that transgender black women specifically are trying to replace, our women who are blessed to be born with their XX chromosomes, could not be further from the darn truth. Matter of fact, darn gone, a majority of my subscribers are beautiful, darn gone black women in all shades. I don't find myself feeling myself to compete with them. We can all darn gone thrive in our darn gone professions and thrive in doing what we do without having to throw a fellow sister under the bus. Whether you're blessed to be born with your ovaries and your cervix and all of that, that don't have nothing to do with me. I'm still going to live my life, and you're going to live your life. I'm going to help you up when you down, and I will expect the same for me. It ain't got to be no darn on competition over here. I don't understand, because once again, show me the 5 black trans women who are out here talking cold cash shit about women who are born, with their ovaries and an XX chromosome. I just don't see it. Is there some here and there? Yes, but as a collective, what the black conscious community try to make it sound like, no, it's not. It's a lot of bullshit, and I have to finally get some pushback on it. I mean, just a darn on mess. And like I said, and want the darn on quote the Bible and stuff, but the same Bible that darn on says Jesus supposed to be in bronze and copper, they keep showing him in a darn on white image. The same darn on Bible that darn on justified misogyny. The same Bible that justified darn on women not even being in a position of power to even speak out against a male presence. So the fact that you even trying to call out transgender women that you think are still anatomically male is out of turn, because shouldn't a woman be submissive to the male darn on presence anyways? So shouldn't you leave it to the male counterparts such as Phil Scott to address transgender women if you're trying to go there from a Christian perspective? So if we're going to go there from a biblical perspective on this thing, then aren't you out of turn for trying to darn on speak out towards somebody that you still in your mind think is of the male persuasion? Because from the Bible says men check other men. The Bible also, in the New Testaments and stuff, that's when you start putting gender roles and shit on clothes. Because if you really go down to it, to the Bible, you don't even supposed to be wearing darn on pants. Because Vicki Dillard is also the type of misguided Christian who also talks about men wearing skinny jeans and men wearing makeup and all this, that, and the third. But I don't never hear her talk about women wearing darn on pants and stuff. Because once again, it's actually spoken that darn on women don't supposed to be wearing any type of pants. So if you're going to be darn on that bullshit about men wearing dresses and shit, which once again is a fallacy, and once again it confuses me, because isn't your protege none other than Boyce Watkins, who was in Africa, who was wrapped up in a traditional darn on African garment that would in America's Western society resemble a dress? Now, I'm not the type that would say that it's feminine at all, because once again, me studying darn on African history, like I said, my minor in school was going to be African history with a concentration in African and minority studies. So I know that, there are straight men throughout all cultures who wore makeup, whether it's our African brothers and sisters, whether it was the Greeks, whether it was the Romans, and they were not gay all the time. And they were not, a majority of them were not gay. Some of them, yes, but not all of them. It was a part of the culture. Matter of fact, in ancient Egyptian culture, it was actually more common for the men to be dressed in more jewels than the women are. So when you look at hieroglyphics, you will see more men that were adorned with earrings and nose rings and all of that, the body jewels and all of that, more than some of the women were. Because it was not deemed feminine back in that day. You had men who had painted darn on eagle brows, and they had the wig pieces and everything on. And once again, it was not given no type of gender term. It was not deemed feminine for a man to have a wig on and painted brows and eyeshadow and all of that. We in the westernized society has sexualized it and transformed it into something being feminine. That anytime somebody wears makeup, and y'all know my nose is running like a mud today. I'm sorry, y'all. This darn on weather getting to a girl. Y'all know with my Crohn's disease, a girl darn on has a low immune system. But considering that I'm conversing with a fellow sister who also suffered from an autoimmune disease, if she come across this video, I'm sure she won't hold it to me. Because matter of fact, on that exact same darn on live stream she did, she mentioned that she had to take her medication at the end of it. So from one fellow sister to another sister who suffers from an autoimmune disease, honey, I feel your darn on pain. I barely can get through a video without my darn on system being fucked up with this darn on fucked up weather we have in North Carolina. But another thing I want to get into, I got a couple more points and we're going to end it on here. So then she mentioned, hold on. Okay, so then she go into talking about how we should have our own magazines, this, that, and the third. Number one, we do have our own magazines. And just because we have our own magazines doesn't mean we can't be featured on straight equivalent counterpart magazines. Also, since she also tied it into a black perspective, talking about we're not featured on Cosmopolitan, we're not featured on Vogue, this, that, and the third. Honey, I'm about to break a couple darn on stuff down with that lie. But the first thing is this. That rhetoric right there is no different. And this is why a lot of us say what we go through is very similar to what we go through as black people with white people. It's like back in the day, don't you think white people saying, well, why don't you darn on, why you want to be on our TV shows? Why do you got to darn on, why we got to see you? We don't care that you're black or whatever, but why you got to be on our TV? Why you got to be in our magazines? Why you got to be this, that, and the third? Why can't you just go and create your own? I can create my own as well, but if I want to apply to this job that happens to have a lot of white persuasion, I should be able to do that as well. This is America. And I thought we supposed to be in a land of a constitutional republic, a darn on democracy, where everybody has the right to apply for something regardless of skin color. Now, y'all was talking about y'all supported Martin Luther dream. I had a dream and all this, but then when it comes to darn on time for inclusion, all of a sudden y'all want to be on that Joe Biden type of shit. Y'all start to reveal y'all hands, and I ain't talking about all darn on, European perspective people in America, but it was enough of them that was on that bullshit when it came time for black people to start getting their roles. Diane Carroll got a lot of backlash when she was the first black soap opera darn on woman on TV and Dynasty. Not everybody was applauding when darn on Diane Carroll came in reading the fifth out of her darn on white counterpart on darn on Dynasty. And then you started having others come in, black women love them some Younger Than Wrestlers. Now, ironically, that's the one soap opera I couldn't really get into. I tried to get into it. They killed Drusilla off. I ain't never went back to darn on Younger Than Wrestlers since. I love me some darn on Passions, All My Children, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, One Life to Live, and then they took off One Life to Live and All My Children. And that what caused me to go into General Hospital, and I've been following that faithfully since 2011. Days of Our Lives I've been following also faithfully since 2011. And Passions, of course, they took that off in 2008. All My Children, One Life to Live went off fully 2012. They tried to make a comeback, lasted one season on Hulu. We didn't hear nothing else from them since, and it's been over 8 years. So, but once again, every black person, honey, is always over there at the Young and the Restless. But back in the day, it was a lot of the white folks that said, oh, well, why don't you go get your own shit? And now you do got your own shit with the have and the have-nots and darn on the Oval. And, granted that Tyler Perry could use some writers like me. I know y'all, by the time I'm done with this video, y'all gonna be like, God damn it, Juan, you is just like the transgender Barbie. What didn't you want to do? Every time we hear about you, you darn gonna talk about another profession. This is my profession. I also wanted to do some songwriting for the Queen Bee, honey. I know y'all saying, God damn it, Juan, you just want to do everything. You wanted to do veterinarian medicine. You wanted to be a culinary chef. You wanted to become an actor. You wanted to be an entrepreneur. You wanted to be an ASPCA officer, animal safety protection from cruelty to animals, just in case y'all didn't know what the acronyms stand for. You also wanted to minor in history with a concentration in African and minority studies. You also wanted to minor in marine biology. And now you're talking about you want to do some writing and directing as well. Girl, what didn't you want to do? I know I'm all over the place. I am a Capricorn. I'm very, ambitious. I wear many different darn hats, honey. Contrary to the stereotype that some people label upon us. Because when you hear about transgender women, you hear about the hoe stroke. You only hear about transgender women if we're doing hair, which also I am a licensed beautician. Once again, I know I'm the black trans Barbie, bitch. If y'all wanted to know what multi-faceted is, honey, I'm the queen of multifaceted, honey. But not only can I do hair, not only can I do darn on skincare, I'm a medical licensed esthetician. But I am very well versed in history. I'm very well versed in darn on science. So when it comes to people darn on spreading these darn on lies, I can give pushback on that. They don't expect a little old small girl like me with 800 subscribers to darn on hold my darn on facts down. But I think I done pretty damn good with this darn on hour-long video, if I do say so myself. Like I said, Beyonce called me. Tyler Perry called me as well, because you have now propelled black soap opera, because they told us to go get our own, and Tyler Perry said, bitch, we going to get our own. I'm going to come out with the have and have nots. I'm going to come out with the oval. I'm going to come out with sisters, you stay on my mind. Like I said, I wanted to do the songwriting, not necessarily the singing. I don't necessarily have the most aesthetically pleasing voice, honey. Even though I'm blessed with 4 octaves, my voice is not necessarily no Tina Turner by no means, honey. Not the queen bee in any ways, but I can darn gon' put pen to paper and darn gon' write some bars for them. But darn gon' Tyler Perry created the first darn gon' black-owned studio that is actually bigger than some of the white counterparts. And ooh, they was in their feelings, child, especially since it used to be a Confederate Army base that used to celebrate, a certain group of people that wanted us to darn gon' still be in a place where we're asking for some darn gon' money, as opposed to owning our darn gon' own stuff. But at the same time, unfortunately, he could use some darn gon' help, because our black excellence is not necessarily shining, yeah. All this winning, babe. Honey, he could be really winning if he adds some darn gon' black writers onto the team to create some diversity. You can still be the head writer, Tyler, but darn gon' allow some of us multifaceted girls to get us some coin too. Run me my paper. Bitch, I'll take an internship. Come on now, they're gonna put somebody else on. Better put on. But yeah, in regardless though, we create our own, and they still have some shit to say about that. So I find it to be the same thing when it comes to our darn on straight darn on black counterparts talking about, oh, why don't you just stick to your own magazines, this, that, and the third. Okay, just because we darn on have our own magazines doesn't mean we have to be restricted to them. That's like when white people say, oh, just stick to your own shit. We can darn on very much be darn on other, and then they can be on ours as well. Just like white people have been featured on black darn on run show, like the have and have nots was not just black only. We got the criers. And I'm glad to see that darn on Cat, because I was like, well, damn, Catherine done finally got her a young, hot piece of darn on, a spicy darn on meat, honey. She done got her old Latina piece of darn on hot ass. And she done got shot. I said, damn, how's she gonna get her freak on now? Get your freak on. When I seen Catherine got shot, I said, damn. Just when the old boy darn on thought he had it made and all that, he done got the penthouse and shit. Darn on Catherine darn on flipped over like a walrus in the damn water. Way in the water, only when it freezes. Honey darn on Catherine darn on. Then it turns out, see, this is this bullshit. Darn on Catherine now automatically can hold her breath for a long period of time underwater. We did not see that bitch darn on talking about she kept lifting her head and shit up. Bitch, your face was all the way down in the damn water. Talking about I held it. How the hell did you hear the sirens down in the water? Now you know this bitch is in a big old ass mansion, right? How the hell did you hear when the sirens and shit pulled up? With the way that mansion is built, you can't tell me you heard when the cops darn on pulled up to the motherfucking house. See, that's that darn on piss poor writing. And then don't let me even get into that movie. Child, they read darn on Tyler for fifth for that darn on movie with my girl Hannah.
Hannah done got her young piece of darn on hot black meat down near the darn on movie on Netflix. And they showcase the tacky wigs. It's like, girl, once again, Tyler, hire me. I can do the hair. I can do the skin care, the chemical peels, the microdermabrasion treatments, body waxing, making sure you got the good wigs, and I can write the storylines. Since you want to be darn on cheap, obviously, honey, you can get one bitch and darn on pay me just one salary, and I can do 10 different things in one. See, that's the benefit of having a multifaceted transgender queen. Because not all of us is on the host role. Because when you have people like Vicki Dillard and stuff stereotyping us, they like to darn on think all of us is just on the host role, or we're just all darn on beauty girls. We're just actresses and darn on, honey, we can darn on be very multifaceted. I can do the hair, I can do the writing, and I can get the skin together, and darn on apply the makeup. Because sometimes the makeup be looking bad too. Honey, I remember I used to darn on be reading darn on Tika something for Fifth. That darn on foundation shade was just so off. And but that's a whole nother video for another day. But getting back to the subject, like they said, when we got our own stuff, they criticize us too, even when darn on shit wasn't darn on good. But we darn on prepared because he came a lot over the years. The makeup got a little bit more blended. Candace wigs got darn on better. The wardrobe budget got a little bit more darn on decent. Honey, shout out to the character who played Miss Veronica, honey. I seen her on The Real the other day. I don't know why I can't remember her name. Angela Robinson, that's her name. Honey, very cute, honey. Curls and everything. But that darn on black darn on vampy lip with the darn on eyeshadow and the wig, I said, come on, Tyler. It's like, how in the hell darn on Angela Robinson character be looking more fly than darn on, and this is another shit I don't get. Darn on Catherine done spilled darn on Veronica's tea. Veronica is worth $25 million, but she's $29 million in debt. So technically, she's on a net negative of $4 million. So I'm trying to figure out, with a net worth of a less than $4 million, she Mary J. Blige type rich. Like, she darn on rich in name and prestige only, but she owes everybody, honey. She owes everybody and they motherfucking mama. The darn on maid about to snitch on her motherfucking ass done pissed off the only maid that she had in the house. Y'all talking about how in the hell did people break into her darn on house when she supposed to have 24/7 staff? Bitch, we only seen one maid throughout the whole show with darn on Veronica Harrington's character. It's the criers that have the whole staff. It's darn on Catherine, who's worth $250 million. $250 million. Yeah, she over here looking like an old cheap darn on matriarch, and this bitch is worth $250 million. Yet you got the girl that's $4 million in debt and couldn't even pay her darn on old white staff. You got her darn on looking like Miss darn on badass, honey, with the darn on vampy darn on Kat Von D lip and the eyeshadow and the darn on sassy bob cut wig. Come on through, Miss Harrington. You better showcase the honey. She giving the new darn on villain tease. So Tyler's getting there, but once again, he could do a little bit better by getting some of the girls up in here, especially how you be representing us in the LGBTQ community. You really need somebody of the community that is multifaceted, who knows about the hood, but is also very well educated and has a broad vernacular that can darn on write some complex darn on storylines. Come on, Tyler. My email will be down below. But translating it back to Vicki Dillard. See, I done got on a tangent. Y'all thought I darn gone ran away with Vic. Very much similar to what she did when she tried to call herself deviating from the subject. So I'm going to get back on subject with Vicki Dillard talking about we should have our own shit. We do. And guess what? We are altruistic enough to feature straight darn on our straight counterparts on our darn on award shows and our magazines. Did you forget about Beyonce and Jay-Z at the darn on Glad Awards? I darn on put it right up and through here. I go ahead and put it through here. Did we forget about Britney Spears? And did we forget about Mariah Carey and Madonna? And all of the straight darn on counterparts that we've had down at our darn on award shows. And the list goes on and on. Mary J. Blige. So if we can have straight counterparts on our stuff, why can't we be on Essence? Because you can't just say that you have a problem with men being on Essence, because we done highlighted earlier that you had straight doggone men for the most part, for the exception of one butch queen that has been featured on Essence magazine. And it was not one complaint during the time that those men were featured on Essence. But now you got trans women being mentioned. Not even on the cover, but hold this darn thought. You've actually had a trans woman actually on the cover of Essence magazine with Orange is the New Black, and that's darn LaVron Cox, and I ain't heard not one complaint then. Which makes me think this shit is a little bit personal. Like, I'm trying to figure out what in the world does Vicki Dillard has with against Angelica Ross, because I don't remember this backlash when darn LeBron Cox was on the front of the cover of Orange is the New Black. I don't remember Orange is the New Black getting backlash with LeVon Cox on the cover. And then to go further on from there, we can mention about hold on, I'm still looking at my notes. I'm trying to make sure I get everything together. So now we don't mention about the celebrities who's been on LGBT magazines, and the fact that here's another thought. She mentioned about well, why it has to be doggone we're marginalized, this, that, and the third, and y'all didn't go to Cosmopolitan, y'all didn't go to Vogue with this doggone mess. Once again, I don't understand. With all the darn money and shit that darn Phil and darn Vicky get, y'all can't do y'all due diligence. You steady typing with them darn long net. See, I done cut my nails down due to my job, but you be on this darn the whole time, and you telling me you couldn't darn type Google and darn find darn LeVron Cox on Cox, because she mentioned Cosmopolitan, and it was very funny because soon as she said Cosmopolitan magazine, and the fact that, I don't see trans women going to Cosmopolitan, I was like, well, bitch, not only has LeVron Cox been featured on darn Essence magazine and Orange is the New Black, honey, but let me go ahead and show you the cover where darn she was featured on Cosmopolitan. So it's like, once again, I could not help but laugh at Phil and darn Vicki Dillard throughout this whole segment. Because you're contradicting yourself so many times throughout this whole motherfucking show. You got and then we can go on from there to Caitlyn Jenner when she was on Vanity Fair magazine. And then we can mention a couple other magazines that transgender women have been featured on. So there goes your argument right there. You've had transgender women featured on Elle magazine, Vanity Fair, Time. Matter of fact, LeVron Cox was featured on Time magazine as well. So she's been on Essence, she's been on Time magazine and Cosmopolitan. So now what's your argument now, sweetheart? Because now you try to create that you try to spread out that lie as if trans women are only being featured in black spaces, but are not being featured in white spaces. But now I just mentioned several white magazines. Now what's the argument now? You see how people be trying to create unnecessary division. This whole video that Vicki Dillard did was pretty much to try to incite division between trans women and biological women who are blessed to be born with their parts and their chromosomes, where it did not need be. Under any circumstances, under normal circumstances where you don't have these extremists fanning the flames with their misguided Christian rhetoric, such as TheAdviseShow, such as Boyce Watkins, such as Vicki Dillard, which I respect all of them in their normal capacities, but stick to what you actually know. Because when you get to mentioning shit like this, honey, you have me have to write a whole page full of notes having to fact check the fuck out your asses. Once again, stick to doing what you know. Because you getting into this territory of trans shaming, and it's like you had something going when you was talking about the sports. I could agree with you on the sports, but everything else that you said, respectfully, in my humble opinion, like Monique said, but then I'm going to switch to Candy to Real Housewives of Atlanta. What you said was some bullshit. Y'all remember that season where Candy clapped back at doggone Nene and said what you said was some motherfucking bullshit. Now they still were friends afterwards. And you know, I'm still going to be cordial and respectful towards Miss Vicki Dillard, because it ain't no hatred at this. Like I said, I found it very amusing. But on a serious note, I had to do this hour-long video to give some friendly pushback, because I can't let people of her level, even though I'm at a disadvantage because I have 800 subscribers, I don't have somebody of Boyce Watkins caliber backing me. I don't have Phil the Advice Show popping up in my comment section backing me up on some shit. So it's like, not only is doggone Vicki Dillard a force to be reckoned with within herself, with her subscriber base, but then she has Boyce Watkins and Phil doggone helping her spread these lies. So even though I don't have nowhere near that amount of pull, honey, I still feel obligated to doggone speak my piece at the end of the day. Even if only 50 or 60 people might see it. It is what it is. So, but I definitely employ as many people as possible to tag, you know, Vicki Dillard and Phil the Advice Show. And if they want, you know, if they want to humble themselves to, you know, to have a conversation with little old me, they might think I'm beneath them, honey. It's like, who is this darn black, darn trans-headed, transgender woman with this darn cheap ass golden bonnet on, trying to darn summon me? I know they probably darn if they do come across this video, they're gonna be like, honey, I ain't got the time today. Bitch, I ain't in darn fully shaving, and she want to darn try to summon for me, honey. That's okay. I can just leave my thoughts here with this darn video. Like I said, there's no ill blood. I still support these people. I don't agree with everything that they say for obvious reasons, especially, like I said, with that darn Bible. I still don't understand people claiming to be conscious or pan-Africanist or any type of liberated from the darn programming that white people have put upon us, that we have been indoctrinated into from birth. But then y'all are still quoting these scriptures that, you know, just don't make any sense. And like I said, even with the transphobia, the homophobia, because that's what it really is. It is a form of lighthearted transphobia. Because and I'm going to get into this, and I'm going to close it on out. Oh, I do have to mention Richelieu Dennis one more time, and I'm going to close it on out. But with this once again, the transphobic rhetoric, people say, oh well, I don't have nothing against trans, and I can't stand when people pacify their bigotry with saying, well, I don't mean it with malice intent. That's just like a white person saying, well, I don't say the N word, or, you know, I'm not chasing black people down the street, so I'm not racist. But then you participate in stuff that systematically oppress black people, and you do it with a smile on your face. That's even more treacherous than anything. I'd rather respect the person who's coming at me with the vitriol versus the person trying to darn kill me with kindness, because it's like, you're actually spiking me with poison versus I can see this person trying to come at me heads on. It's the person that's real sneaky with that shit that you got to worry about more than anything. So it's like, I can't stand people who try to fake like, oh, I don't have nothing against gay people and trans people. You know, I'm not chasing you down the street, and I'm not darn using the F word. It's not about that. It's just like when white people, you don't have to be racist by just saying the N word. Because at the end of the day, a poor white person down the street call me an N word is not going to affect me. But that darn rich white person who's working at the bank, who is systematically denying me a business loan, but he's smiling in my face the whole time, but he telling the person, we can tell that nigga's black, throw that application away. Or even if they don't see me, if my name sounds black, that name sounds too ethnic, honey. And then they go research me, and they see this beautiful brown skin girl, skin shine like pearl, honey. Next thing you know, my paper is tossed in the motherfucking shredder, honey. See, those are the ones that are more dangerous than anything, but they are smiling in your face the whole time. They smile in your face, dun dun dun, while plotting your dismay. The backstabbers, honey, it's the backstabbers that you have to worry about more than anything. So when it comes to transphobia, there's different levels to it, just like it's different levels of racism. Just because you're not the transphobic person to be, shouting transphobic epithets or gay epithets, you're not threatening a gay or transgender person, does not mean that you still do not perpetuate in it. If you're still using your platform to spread vitriol and division, and you're trying to disguise it in the form of niceties and trying to, act like you're defending another marginalized community, you're actually really propelling division where it don't need be. Because instead of propelling just black women empowerment, you're trying to you're trying to cause two marginalized communities to go up against each other where it don't need to be. We would do better together than divided, especially when you have trans women who also fall within the spectrum of being black. Because at the end of the day, I'm still black. And that's another thing. When people regard transgender women and gay people, they be trying to classify us as if we're a whole different race of people. I be hearing people talk about white, Muslim, Jew, black, and then LGBT, as if LGBT belongs in the categorical classification of darn on ethnicity or race, as opposed to sexuality and gender identity. So even with that, I have a problem when people do that darn on type of classification. And you learn about that shit in the second grade about, which part of this in the group does not belong. You do not darn gonna classify gender identity and darn gone sexual orientation within racial classifications and darn gone ethnicities. Also, people can be part of multiple groups at the same time. Like me, I am black and I am a trans woman. I belong in both groups. I can still fight for black issues and I can still fight for darn gone transgender issues. Transgender issues at the same time. And me also highlighting transgender issues does not deviate from my blackness, because people like to make it seem like it's one or the other. If you talk about transgender issues, automatically you're not pro-black, you're not B1, you're watered down, you're diluted, you can't darn on fully be vested in the black community if you represent anything of the LGBTQ community. And I think that's some bullshit at the end of the day, especially coming from people who can't even put down the darn on Bible that actually systematically darn on was very instrumental in keeping us in a docile state, because it was the Bible that was used systematically to calm down the Nat Turners of the world. Because before then, black people was more body. You had the Harriman Tubmans, you had the Nat Turners and shit that would pop off. But it was the Bible that systematically indoctrinated you into believing the white image of Jesus, the darn prepare you to, to bless your people and, to just forgive them. Thou shalt not kill, this, that, and the third. That's why they had to do away with the Old Testament, because the Old Testament said an eye for an eye. And once they was like, no, we can't have them darn doing the eye for the eye. So that's why they got rid of that motherfucking Old Testament, if we really want to go into some true darn theological tea, honey. Once again, if we really want to break down theology in detail, I can go there. But like I said, I have, still much respect for Vicki Dillard and, feel, despite, our religious differences. That's why I'm not really breaking down their religion. Because if I was to do a video on that, they would really be upset and they would really not want to talk to me. I still want to keep it PC enough where if they want to have a conversation with little old me, we can have that, and I don't have to throw no cheap shots about, even though my darn on shots will actually be surrounded in facts. Because when I darn on present my stuff, I actually fact check my shit. I don't be talking out the side of my darn on neck, honey. I don't. So while she was talking out the side of her neck, darn on spreading darn on mistruths and flat out lies about transgenders, honey, I stated nothing but facts in my darn on videos, honey. And like I said, I welcome the darn on response. But like I said, that video that she did was not needed at all. Just because of somebody's name that was a transgender woman by the name of Angelica Ross was mentioned on a cover of Essence magazine, she got so much in her feelings that she felt the need to darn on go on a transgender tirade and come up with a myriad of issues about how transgender women are affecting black women's plight, even though darn on black transgender women are about 1% compared to our darn on biological XX chromosonial counterparts. It don't make any sense. Black transgender women represent what, 250,000 people? once again, black women who are born with their chromosomes are blessed to be 20 million of the population. So I'm trying to figure out how in the world is biological born women with their chromosomes at fear of being ever displaced by transgender black women. It don't make sense. So when you look at it mathematically from that perspective, and like I said, you would think somebody who is being mentored by a financial lyricist would think about that, but I guess she thought, the rest of us wouldn't darn gonna try to calculate, simple mathematics, even though, you always bigging up darn on boys who supposed to have a PhD in financial literacy, but you supposed to expect us not to be able to calculate simple darn on elementary mathematics. I don't understand it. And like I said, you darn gonna spreading all this darn on division where it don't need to be. But you're darn on speaking from the darn on Bible, which ain't nothing but full of hypocrisies and darn on division. Like I said, I could not help but darn on laugh because I said, you know what, bless her heart, she really don't know what she darn on doing. I can't even really darn on get too mad because it's like she's very much of a more of a victim than anything. So why am I going to come up on here and try to cuss her and feel out? Once again, you'll do far better trying to get through with people with kindness versus with darn on trying to go, because like I said, that Bible is really something terrible. That Bible, this is a clear example of how that Bible has played an instrumental part in keeping us stifled. Because all this energy that they gave towards mentioning Angelica Ross, they could have focused half that energy and would have got us a lot further with darn on getting a candidate towards, the presidential darn on ticket to get our issues pushed through. Because where was this same level of energy pushed towards Marion Williamson to say, hey, Marion, we agree with you on reparations. Now, we don't agree on this dollar amount. This is what we propose. This is how we think it should be executed. I think, reparations should be $6 trillion. $5 trillion for economic restitution, $1 trillion for cash disbursement, $5 trillion over the course of 10 years. It goes to this, that, and the third. I got a whole hour video on here if you want to learn more information about it. That's how we should have darn came at Marion Williamson. But instead, y'all want to sit up here and call her names. Y'all want to be dismissive and all this, that, and the third. And then y'all want to talk cold cash shit about all the other candidates and not even want to entertain the table. Some of y'all talking about that y'all don't vote, period. So it's like, I don't know why you bitching and complaining about what the presidential candidates are doing if you don't even plan on voting in the first place. So it's like, your voice is not even needed in the darn on discussion if you're not even being willing to vote for the person if they are on your side for darn on reparations. So all of this bullshit that I see going on in the black community darn on kept us stifled and keep us looking foolish out here. And you wonder why they darn on trying to replace our darn on vote with the Hispanic vote. Because at least they're leveraging they darn gonna vote to darn gonna get stuff done. We darn gonna so divided and darn gonna argue amongst each other on some darn gonna stupid shit. A transgender black woman name on a magazine warned a whole hour video. Like, really? Girl, boo. But to end it off, with Richelieu Dennis, because people kept talking shit about Essence being white owned, this, that, and the third. And we already broke down that the fact that Essence is owned not only by a black man, but by an African. Richelieu Dennis is 100% Sudanese, straight from the Sudan of Africa. You cannot get no more blacker than that. Like, he's not no Ethiopian type black, because some people like to say, well, those are mixed race people, Arabs and, Palestinians. Honey, he is about 7 shades darker than me, full African black, sub-Saharan black. You don't get no more blacker than that. So, number one, let's darn gonna debunk the lie about darn gone Essence now being white owned. We now know it's owned by 100% full-blooded African man from the continent of Africa, from the Sudan. Not only that, but then they said, what has Essence really done instrumental for doggone black women? It seems like they tried, just because they mentioned a transgender woman name one time, you ran with this narrative to say that they're deviating from talking about black women issues to doggone trying to promote LGBT. So we can't be mentioned not one time without you thinking that we're trying to take a whole shit over. Even though every other month of the year, you're mentioned throughout the whole magazine. I don't understand. But because Angelica Ross' name was mentioned one time, she wasn't even on the cover. But because her name was mentioned, you felt so much in your feelings to darn gonna do a video. And then question the authenticity of darn on Richelieu Dennis and what he has done. So let me tell you what he has done. Richelieu Dennis, both when he owned Shea Moisture and when he is now the owner of Essence Magazine, has played a very instrumental part in supporting black causes. One of the most notable is Tina Knowles with the Waco Theater, in the Wearable Art Gala. I will include some pictures right here. Once again, he has played a very instrumental part in supporting the arts and educating black people and the actual arts of what we do, because we lost sight of our artistic vision. A lot of people don't even go to darn on art galleries and stuff no more. We darn on line that with whiteness, and I don't understand this. With all the history and stuff that we as black people got, we act like we can't be artists and stuff like that and artisans. I don't understand that. So you have Tina Knowles and Tina Lawson and Richard Lawson. They came out with the Waco Theater to promote darn on black, aspiring actors and performers, comedians, and also artists. And every year she has the Wearable Art Gala. And Shea Moisture has always donated funds, and they have donated products to people at... Ooh, excuse me, y'all. At least I burped. I didn't poop. I ain't motherfucking Wendy Williams, honey. And I have the ability to edit my shit. I ain't going to edit that darn gonna burp out. But, honey, I would... At least it came out this end and not the other end, honey. Shout out to darn on Wendell, Orthenthal, Bartholomew, Pookie, Thetis, Clyde, Jack and the Beanstalk, darn on Williams, honey. And shout out to T.S. Madison for that darn on nickname to Wendy, honey. But, yeah, on another note, once again, y'all excuse the burp. But, yeah, he has donated plenty of times to events like that. He has now started supporting other black-owned hair care companies since he no longer owns Shea Moisture. And the list goes on and on. Helping darn on black, children go to camps and stuff like that. Making sure they have school supplies. Making sure they learn about black history. Making sure that they learn about some financial literacy. Because, the Tina Angels and the Richard Warriors, which is what Tina knows. And I keep saying Tina knows because technically she still goes by her first husband's name on YouTube. She goes by Tina Knowles, but she's Tina Lawson. But Tina Lawson and Richard, they have this camping organization every year that houses, young black children, and they make sure they learn everything about the way of life, from financial literacy, from the arts, from theater to camping, hygiene skills for the women and the men, and all this, that, and the third, a little bit of sexual education, hair care, and that's when the Shea Moisture, they come in, and they make sure that the children are using natural products. They're not using, black targeted products. They're using black owned, when it was black owned. Make sure that they ain't, going and using those chemicals, because when you have black targeted products for us that is owned by white people, it's formulated with formaldehyde and all that shit, and then you see on the doctors, they spread the mistruth of black products targeting killing us, but that's I shouldn't say necessarily misnomer, but it is it's a half truth, because the products are black targeted, but they do not emphasize that it's not black owned, and that the products are systematically, and I would go as far as to say it's biological warfare, but I ain't going to go, that's a whole nother subject to a day that I don't want to get into. But those black targeted products that are owned by white people are used to darn disrupt our immune systems, to keep us stifled and to keep us in a weakened darn physical state, while education keeps us in a more mental darn state. So we're being attacked already by so many darn sides by white supremacy. So the last thing we need is people from the darn on faith that still wants to hold on to the Bible. We don't need people who look like us also darn on damaging us as well. We don't need Vicki Dillard and darn on Phil targeting us when we also have to deal with bullshit like this as well. And when you're darn on diminishing the darn on credits of what somebody such as Richelieu Dennis has done for black communities, it is very disrespectful when you don't take the time to research that Richelieu Dennis has darn on helped black people use natural hair products so they don't have to deal with, formaldehyde. They don't have to deal with chemical burns from relaxers. You're promoting the image of natural hair and, encouraging young girls and guys to go more natural instead of wearing relaxers and other processes in their hair. Making sure that they know that their black is beautiful in all shades. They highlight the darkest of the dark. Like I said, they had Kevin Hart on the magazine. They had Viola Davis. And they have Beyonce. It's none of this colorism shit. And they don't just highlight all light-skinned women and then make the dark-skinned folks feel bad. It's an equal representation of everybody. It's an equal representation of light-skinned, black-skinned, Christian, atheist, transgender, lesbian, bisexual, because at the end of the day, we're all black at the end of the day. Everything else is secondary. Regardless of what your religion is, your gender identity, your sexual orientation, we all have the commonality of being people of the African diaspora. And that's why you have somebody who is African, who knows that, and don't subscribe to all this division. You don't see Richelieu Dennis perpetuating this bullshit that other people on YouTube be trying to do. From, uplifting only one type of people, trying to be tribal and just stick with black Americans. Number one, that wouldn't make sense for him because he's African. Number two, trying to promote only light skin. He's darn on 7 shades darker than me, so obviously that wouldn't make sense either. So, and then he's not naturally darn on homophobic nor transphobic, so he don't mind promoting people LGBTQ community that also happen to be black, because once again, LGBT is secondary to the race. We're all black at the end of the day. So yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to mention on that. I know this video was very long, but her video was about just as long, and I wanted to make sure that I broke down every single point in grave detail. From, from her going off on a tangent about transgender women in sports, to her obvious disdain for, I think her and Angelica Ross had a run-in the past, because she, for her to even make this video, and it started off with Angelica Ross, it seems like there's some sort of underlying intention there that we don't know about. But I digress. If y'all know what Vicki Dillard and Angelica Ross have going on as far as any beef, y'all let me know. But we don't mention about that to, Phil Scott using his darn on massive platform to try to co-sign what Vicki Dillard was darn on perpetuate. Once again, just saying. But like I said, y'all, that's it, y'all. We done talked on enough subjects. And this video is going to be a bitch to darn on edit. It's like, I miss when I just was able to just upload it straight. But since I got to include so many images and shit, I now got to access my Cyberlink darn on Power Director. This video is going to probably take like 4 hours to render, and then it's going to take another 2 hours to upload, and then I go above and beyond and provide timestamps. So y'all, if y'all want to support your girl as far as cash contributions, it's not required. But a girl, this is like a full-time job. When a girl has to do these type of long videos and then have to do all the editing, the images and all that. And I don't even do it as fancy as some of the upper echelon YouTubers. But that'll come later on this year. We slowly building up over here. We're going to get this lighting together, because I'm sick of doggone looking too, my wall be looking all yellow and shit, and then my skin tone be looking off. Like, it's like, we're going to get this light together in the next couple months, so. And then, probably find another replacement software where I can render my videos faster. And maybe also record and edit my images in at the same time. That way I don't have to do so much work after the recording ends. Because right now, I record everything and then I have to go into the editor and then add my images, render, then upload to YouTube, do my time stamps, do my description box, and all of that. Very tedious darn on process. So if y'all want to support your girl, honey, Cash App be down below. PayPal is the same as my email address. Once again, Tyler Perry, I haven't forgot about you. Send me a business requirement. I'm in North Carolina. Atlanta, Georgia is only 9 hours. Matter of fact, I think it's only about like an hour and a half by plane, honey. I don't mind going to Georgia. It's the same climate too, so I won't have to worry about no adjustments in far as climate, because you know, going from the East Coast to something like Florida is a different darn on climate. Also, when you go to like the Midwest, and also you go straight out west to like California, I can imagine my body would go through a different shock. I've never been to California, but I've heard people who went from the East Coast to the West Coast have negative reactions, and y'all know I already have a low immune system as it is. That will make it extremely difficult for a girl. But to go from North Carolina to Georgia ain't nothing. Honey, our darn on temperatures are the darn on same. So Tyler, once again, call me. Go ahead and pick up the phone. I give you my phone number and everything after the email. You know, I ain't about to be too bold and leave it down in the description box below. Also, Vicki Dillard, Field Advice Show, Boris Watkins. If y'all want to have a conversation with me, like I said, I still welcome the opportunity. There's no ill will over here. So y'all leave y'all thoughts, comments, suggestions down below. Feel free to tag those individuals that I mentioned. And I will see y'all soon with more videos. Mwah.